Hi, welcome to another Power Blast podcast. Are you looking for ways to boost your intellect or even ward off mental aging? Maybe even live a little longer? I'm going to share some simple strategies and tweaks to your daily routine that can keep your brain in great condition. Stay tuned. Hey everyone, Perry Tinsley here, health and fitness coach. Welcome to the Power Blast podcast, the power of possibility, passion, and purpose. And today we're going to talk about brain health. And while I would like to say that I'm an expert in that, I'm not. But I'm going to tell you some things that I've learned. And you know what would be really crazy cool? I'm going to put out a little plea here for you listeners out there. If you know of someone who is really good at brain health and they just know their stuff and can really share some simple things beyond maybe what I'm going to share with you today, message me at perrytinsley@gmail.com. That would be really, really crazy cool to bring them on the show and to share with a bunch of people their insights and knowledge. So I was reading an article today. It was like 5 ways to brain health. And so while I was looking at that, I'm like, oh, yeah, I do some of those things. That's pretty cool. And so I started to dig a little bit deeper. I think I brought up maybe 7 or 8 different tabs on Google. So you can go on Google brain health and learn different things. But I found just kind of essentially maybe 7 core things. There's a lot that people can do, obviously. But I found like 7 things that I thought were pretty simple that I thought I can share with you that you may want to consider just adding into your daily routine. Now, I'm not sure if you're going to notice a big brain boost right away, but why not give yourself a chance and a little leg up to enhance your brain health as we get older? So one thing is, and some of these may be obvious to you, and others you may just go, gosh, I know I should be doing that, but I need to put that in and start doing that. One is to learn new things by exercising your brain. That can be like, brain games, brain puzzles, things like that, brain teasers, little activities like that, just to kind of, keeping, even doing things with your non-dominant hand, I think can really impact the brain. Doing things that are creative, stuff like that, is one thing. Another idea within that category is just to learn new things, new skills, like a new language or learning how to play a new instrument or taking up a new hobby and learning those things, where you've got to really focus on doing that. I've got a lot of friends that are in their 70s and 80s who they intentionally do activities to keep their brain going, to keep their brain active, and so I always see them joining a club or they're doing some things. I'm like, oh man, I wish I was doing that, like learning to play an instrument of some sort. The next one, I'm very happy to see this on the list: exercise. Now, most of us already maybe are physically active, and it's probably, if you're a listener of this podcast, you probably exercise regularly, but just know that you're doing your brain a world of good. A lot of studies out there that say that exercise is really good for the brain. And it doesn't necessarily mean you have to hit the gym. I mean, you can get out there and do hiking and skating and swimming and just being active. But I think daily exercise of some sort, and I'm not saying just walking across the parking lot into the store, something a little more intentional, that can really have a great benefit to you as well. The next one is to eat brain food. And so we all know, good, clean, healthy eating is good. A lot of these things are going to impact and influence a lot more than just the brain, right? But we're talking about brain health and having brain food, just to kind of give yourself an edge, to give yourself a boost. And if you were to Google brain food, you'll come across things like spinach and avocado and blueberries and almonds and fish and things like that. Even coffee. A lot of you are rushing to Starbucks now, aren't you? So those are kind of topping the list. There's a bunch out there. But one thing that I've done probably the past 10, 15 years is to get omega-3s in. So I do take a supplement with fish oil. And I was talking to a chiropractor a few years ago, and he said, well, don't just go and grab any fish oil because not all of them are created equal. And you want to look for these two things on the back of the ingredients. One's called DHA and one's called EPA. Long words for some sort of special acid that's within the fish. But he said you want to look for at least a combination. I think he was trying to get me to get a combination of over 1,000 milligrams. I've heard I usually strive for about 900 milligrams, and I've read that if you find one that's less than 600, combine the two, the EPA and the DHA numbers. If it's below 600, don't waste your money on it, because you'll have to take a lot of them to really get the benefit of it. And then you also want to mind, just maybe do some Google reviews on before you get the fish oil, because sometimes capsules, if they're not coated properly, they can come back as fish burps later on, and that is really kind of gross. So I'm just giving you a little insider tip there. Fortunately, I haven't had that issue happen in many, many years, but I've had it happen before where like an hour later after you've had your supplements, you're like, oh, not good. Another one that came up and thought was really cool is volunteering. I think a lot of times it just lowers people's stress levels when they're doing something good and something meaningful in their life. And so I think that kind of came out in some of the lists that I saw. Another one was socializing. And so I think that goes beyond just texting people, and Facebook Messenger and stuff like that is actually, I think, interacting with people, and just that face-to-face contact can do some things with the neurons and stuff like that within the brain, and make things a little more active and fun. And even just getting together to laugh and stuff like that. I think I saw laughing in there too. Wasn't necessarily on the top of my list here, but I thought, yeah, I bet you there's a lot of benefit. The next one, obvious one, sometimes not easy to do for some people because you got to rearrange your schedule. It's sleep. So not only essential for regenerating your physical body, but really imperative for things like insights and creative solutions, and just kind of like a little mental reset that can happen overnight. Now, I know sometimes people tend to get really busy-brained overnight and lack of sleep. But if you can find a way to get some good sleep, I really got a great pillow recently. It's given me great sleep. I never thought I'd buy one. I thought it was kind of a hokey infomercial, but it's called My Pillow, and I think right here in this city they make those. And we got one, and I fell in love with it. I really like mine. So it helps me sleep better, and I do have to say there's probably some things to that. And one other thing, probably on is really, really good. And I have to say this because I live in Minneapolis, and we've had many, many gray, gloomy days. But the other brain benefit or health benefit to your brain is sunlight. I maybe knew that at one point, but it just kind of came back out as I was doing the research for this podcast today. Getting sunlight. So what do I do if I don't get the sunlight? Because I'm not getting out there. It was like 10 degrees today, but it was sunny. I take a vitamin D supplement as well. And you can do your own research on what the best amount is for that. I'm not an expert. I know what I'm doing for me, but I think whatever that can be for you, and just to do your research, am I going to add vitamin D in there? If you happen to live in a sunny area, just get outdoors, for little bits, and let that sun help your brain out. So anyway, that's all I have for this week. Once again, I challenge you, if you know of somebody that is really into brain health, they're kind of an expert or a lead in their field on it, I would love to have them on. Please have them message me, email me, or you can connect me. Just my email is perrytinsley@gmail.com. Maybe put in the subject line, your brain health podcast, or I have somebody on brain health, whatever it is, and I'll look for it. Or you can check me out, message me over on Facebook or even Instagram. My name is Perry Tinsley on both of those accounts, so you can reach me there. I so appreciate you for coming on here. If you found this beneficial, well, cool, apply some of them. But if you could share with somebody who could benefit, that would really, really be cool. And you know what? If you got over into your podcast app, I know I plead plea for this every week, but it'd be really crazy cool if you got over into your podcast app, swiped over to give an honest rating, maybe even a review. That would really, really be awesome. It's kind of like when you go over to Yelp and you're reviewing these restaurants, or going on to Amazon. You often go and look at those products to see, well, how were they reviewed, and what did people say about them, and that's what helps people make a decision whether they're going to get the product or even just to tune in to a podcast show or not. And so I'd really, really appreciate it. And thank you for I'll give you a shout out for taking time to do that. That's all I have for this week. Man, what a great start to 2019. I really, really appreciate you, my friend. And as always, remember, it's never too late. We'll see you next week.